Hey guys, welcome to Tommen Talk. I'm Crystal. I have Bree and Steph on with us today, and we have a new presentation for you because that is what we do. Today we're going to be talking about the Winter Ball and like the aftermath of the Winter Ball. Basically, I guess all the events that we think could potentially unfold post Winter Ball, which is obviously the end of Taming 7, moving into ideally like the plot of Claiming 10, Trying 10, whatever we're going to call it, and Healing 7 as well. So we wanted to put this together to kind of, I guess, narrow down some of our thoughts around it. Again, these are just our thoughts right now. They could change tomorrow. They could change after we film this. But we just wanted to go through it and share our thoughts. So let's just jump into it.
For a recap, so December 22nd, this is when we have the Viper in the Common Room chapter. Then we do December 23rd, which is the actual Winter Ball. December 24th, the guards are at Gibs' house. This is Christmas Eve. And then December 25th, we have the dinner at the Big's house when Hugh ends up going outside. Claire follows him. They have like that conversation outside.
Okay, so then at Winterball, well, before it, we know that when Gibbs and Claire are talking, Claire's like, Hugh left an hour ago to pick up Katie, and then she accidentally picks up the letter with the tickets and like his wallet and scoops it all into her little bag. So then when they get to Winterball, she notes that Katie and Hugh are like clinging to each other, dancing, and then Feely says to Gibbs, Liz asked him to go with her. Gibbs obviously is like, okay, that's your funeral. Claire and Shannon go to the bathroom. That's when she pulls out the letter. They think it's like a GTA little cheat sheet. And that's when they like unfold it because they're like joking, like, haha, the guys are so funny with like this game. And that's when Shannon's like, don't read it. Claire reads it. And then eventually goes and finds Gibbs. She is like, I know. Everyone kind of eventually comes in. There's like the Hugh and Liz little like show me conversation where Gibbs flicks on the lights in the 6-year common room area. Everyone finds their way to the same room. And it kind of is like a big fight where Claire's like, Liz, you never knew the truth. It was actually Gibbs who was his victim. She passes the letter to Johnny. Everybody reads it. Well, not everybody, but Liz freaks out. She's calling Gibbs a liar. Like, this is not her truth. Gibbs leaves. Claire goes pretty much like off on Liz and is like, I don't want to be your friend. You haven't been the same since Kiva died. And like, I'm done with you. Then skips to Gibbs leaving. Claire and Shannon go after him. Johnny chases after him. He gets the letter from Shannon. Eventually they get to Gibbs' house. He's like destroying his room. He doesn't really realize what's all happened. He kind of comes back to and realize like he's cut himself. Everybody's pretty much there saying like, we support you, we love you. Yeah, and that's pretty much the aftermath. And then he goes to Johnny's other home.
So I guess like the Winter Ball, like there's so much to unpack. Even just from like, if you look at like Feely asking Liz, like that's really funny. Like that whole situation will be like unpacked from like Hugh and Liz's point of view. And it's pretty clear like Gibbs knows something there because he's saying that like it's your funeral. You're taking Liz when potentially like Hugh and Katie are most likely done at this point. And then the show me scene I think is something that I think everyone questions what we're actually wanting to show. Like, what does he want to see? And it could be like a range of different things. Like we know that obviously Shannon somehow knows that Liz has diazepam on her and gets the diazepam from Liz to give to Claire. So Liz does technically have her meds on her that day. It could be something else, but I know it's just very, I don't know, strange scene.
I think she left it like that for such an intentional reason. She wanted us to spiral.
To highlight, what do you need us to show you, Hugh? Like, yeah. But yeah, so that's like the consensus of what we know so far. And then like we have some snippets that will kind of feed into the gaps. These are kind of like the snippets from the book. So you've got the show me scene and the letter blow up, just to like rehash and refresh what potentially happened in that moment. Like we definitely will get like a Hugh and Liz's point of view of this as well, which may be very different to Claire and Gibbs' point of view, which I think will be interesting to unpack. But like I guess the whole event of it, it's probably like probably the most anticipated scenes I want to say in the next book, besides Tuesday 18th, I want to say. Like Winter Ball is probably the most anticipated scene. So if we look at some of the snippets that relate to Winter Ball, you've got Hugh dancing with Katie, again, most likely the official, I want to say, in the eyes of people, breakup situation. Feely to Katie, some of those songs do not imply that they are getting together anytime soon. Hate to break it to you, but it's looking like there's a bit of a gap there for Feely and Katie, like before you leave me and wish you the best. Then you've got Hugh and Liz at the Winter Ball, obviously, you know, them, I guess, uniting and being that kind of force together. You've also got Liz unraveling at Winter Ball, and this is the first unraveling playlist that we have. We do have another one for Christmas, and then we have, obviously, Gibbs and Liz standoff between each other, and then Claire's obviously reflection of what happened during that time. So this is kind of all we have for Winterball at this stage, which doesn't really give you a lot, but it kind of gives you, I guess, potentially 3 different or 4 different dynamics happening at the same time, from what we can see. Then we go to post that scene, which is the rain scene. And I think a lot of people think the rain scene is like this dramatic, like love scene. But I really don't think it is, because look at that sad face. Honestly, she also looks kind of sad. Like Jessica kind of looks sad in that picture.
Yeah.
Like, it's probably more so like Liz, she's unraveling. She's like, things are starting to click for her. She's, you know, in shock. She's running outside. It's raining. Hugh's going after her, like explaining that he knows who she is, like even when she doesn't. Like, it's more of a comfort and support than it is like a big dramatic kiss in the rain.
It also has to be fast, because like we know Hugh ends up back at Gibbs' house, and like Gibbs and Claire and everyone already left. So like, and they arrive shortly after. So like, it has to be like a really quick scene, if anything.
Yeah. So it kind of, I think it just kind of shows that like in, I guess, Taming 7, we don't see Hugh do much in that scene, but Claire's technically already left the room. So like Hugh's potentially still in the room at that point, and maybe that is when he's going to bat for Liz. It says going to bat for Liz in the aftermath. Maybe he does say something at that point in time, and then Liz kind of walks out. Like, there's definitely more to that scene than what we've seen from Claire's POV. Like, we didn't even get Gibbs' POV of that. Like, he literally like left, and it's all Claire's POV of like the aftermath and him like going off. So I think it's very strategic in that sense of how Chloe's like pinned those scenes. But this rain scene basically seems like, yeah, it's short, it's sweet, it's going to be sad, it's going to be emotional, but it's going to have to be something that is wrapped up rather quickly for Hugh to get to Gibbs' house in like a timely manner.
And then, I mean, even directly after that, we have this snippet where Joey's literally driving Lizzie home, and I'm not gonna read the whole thing for you, but he literally is driving her home from the Winterball. So, and it says it, drive home from ball. So I think what probably is going to happen is they're going to have that big rain thing going on outside. It's going to be short, sweet. Like you said, Crystal, it's going to be emotional. And then I'd like to assume that Joey's just going to be like, Hugh, you go be with Gibbs. Like, he needs you right now. I got Liz. I'll take her home. And I think Hugh is going to trust Joey. And I feel like I think there's going to be a bond between kind of that whole little trio, if you will. And I think he's going to be like, okay with Joey, like taking Liz at that moment at her most vulnerable. Like, I think he trusts Joey. And I think that's why he is the one that drives her home. So this is the only snippet we really have from that, as far as I know. I don't think we know anything else, but from this, like, I mean, Liz is confessing her love to Joey about Biggs. So I think it's going to definitely be an important conversation.
Yeah. And then I'm like, so is Aoife in the car too? You know, like,
I don't know.
like I just have questions about that. I'm like,
no. And then like,
so she's in the passenger seat.
Yeah, forehead resting on the glass. I stared into the darkness, feeling numb to the bone.
Shannon literally tells Claire like, "Oh, I'll get my brother to drive us," and like then like we jump to this. So I don't know how Claire and Shannon like I don't know how this whole dynamic ends up working out.
Yeah, I'm like, where's Aoife? Like, just a thought I just had. Like, is Aoife in the back seat or is Aoife? Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Unless like, do they call Debs a ball?
Yes, they do call Debs a ball.
Unless it's Debs, but that's, I don't know. The whole dynamic is kind of strange.
I don't know. I feel like Debs is too far away to be like, I love him at Debs.
I agree.
Do you know what I mean? Like, when they're potentially already back together 6 months before this, like, I feel like that's
completely
a bit too far
agree.
away. Yeah.
But I was just trying to think of any balls that might potentially be there.
Yeah. They don't really have many balls. They have a lot of discos, you know?
Yeah, they have a lot of discos.
And I think it's...
And if, like, why else would Joey be, like, why would Joey be driving her home from Debs? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if it's that far towards graduation...
Yeah.
There's not like, well, we don't know, but there's not like a dramatic situation occurring where everybody's chasing Gibbs and Liz would need a ride from someone else.
I agree.
So, yeah, true. And I also wonder like whether the like swap girls snippet is from the ball, like Winterball as well, because he does see Feely with Liz there, and obviously for some odd reason, I think that's from the ball, because it kind of makes sense that it's I forgot to put that. I'll put it in here, but like it kind of makes sense that Joey's already seen everything that's happened. He's like, why are you guys still like doing this? Like,
and then Aoife's there too, and she's like, oh, you can't just tell them to switch.
Yeah, so
that kind of makes sense.
It kind of makes sense. Like, that's the only kind of event, if we look at like with Joey being there post him getting out of treatment, that's like the only like school event that they're all kind of at, and potentially would be having dates or whatever, have some sort of date too. So like, so it's kind of clear there that Joey's already formed some sort of good relationship with Hugh, to be able to say, like, do you mean like those things I say as well, which would kind of link to like him finding out about Pierce and Joey, and like Hugh handling Pierce in that November period prior to Winterball, which then
kind of lines up with what we say with our theories. Like, I feel like that makes sense, like, especially if they handled that situation together prior. Like, Hugh's gonna have trust for Joey. Yeah,
which is why he's like, like, you take her home. So it kind of makes sense there. Anyways, so then everyone's at Gibbs's house. We've got Sive reading the letter. We won't talk about her. We've got Johnny there. Obviously, it's very emotional. I don't really want to relive it. It was not a good time, but just in case you need to reread the pain, then also, was Feely crying? That was like so sad. I was like, Feely's crying? Oh my God, I cried. And then we get to Christmas Eve. So the guards are at Gibbs' house. Claire talks to Shannon and Aoife like outside, and Johnny's inside with Gibbs, and then they basically decide to go to Johnny's like other house in Dublin. And like, this is really interesting. This is Christmas Eve. I was like, where's Joey during this time? I was also like, why is Aoife there? Like, I was rereading it and I was a little bit confused.
Yeah, I was too.
Like, isn't it weird? Like,
it's very weird.
Shannon's talking and then Aoife comes over and is like, you just need to stand by him and trust him and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait, is this like joining us on the Christmas with a small son in her arms? I'm like,
and they're literally at
Pierce's
house.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no
Like
idea.
there's something missing here. Like it's
Like a big part.
because then my other thought is, okay, Christmas Eve, like where is Liz? Also is like
I don't think
is
it
Hugh
mentions where
mentioned,
Hugh is.
and Hugh's not mentioned in this scene at all on
No.
Christmas Eve
No.
either. Like it's just odd. Like yeah, so Christmas
not
Eve,
there.
we don't know where Liz is, we don't know where Hugh is, and we don't know where Joey is. Just a
Yeah.
FYI. Then we get to Christmas Day. So Christmas Day, again, these are the snippets that we have found that could potentially sit here. We've got, which I think is really interesting, is Liz is at the annex for Joey's 19th birthday, which I thought was very random. Like, given everything that was happening, it was like, okay, so Shannon's potentially invited Liz over for Christmas, so she's not alone. We know it's Christmas because we know Joey's birthday is on Christmas, and he does turn 19. It says 19 candles there. And then we've got Liz thinking about Hugh over Christmas. The song is This Love. Then we know Hugh is at dinner with his family. He argues with his dad, and then he like runs out, basically tells Claire not to give up on Liz, and then he leaves. And we've got this playlist of him leaving on Christmas Day, and potentially going to Liz because then he shows up. I feel like there's potentially going to be maybe a big kiss here around that Christmas. They're all kind of like climatic love songs. It's all I want to say, like very the song for Liz when Hugh shows up is simply the best. Like that's like boombox classic. I want to say classic Chloe. Like I want to say like it's like monumental. Like, and then you've got the No Matter What, The Magic of Christmas, and then potentially him saying like, "Are you going to take me back?" Whatnot. So like it's giving like reuniting vibes as well.
Yeah, it does. It feels like that.
Which I think is like a bit nicer for once.
Yeah.
And then these are like the snippets from Christmas Day. So you've got Hugh basically arguing with his parents, and then explaining that like obviously Liz has been saying it for years and nobody believed him, all that kind of stuff. And then he ends up leaving, and then gives his point of view about the investigation and I guess what's happening with Mark whilst he's in Dublin. This is all pure speculation. So I guess this kind of stems from like these unraveling playlists. We know that she started unraveling Winterball, and that like unraveling doesn't just stop. I feel like it would be a continuous like progression of unraveling. We get Liz unraveling Christmas 2005, and we know we've got that whole kind of week off of school as well. So we've got a pretty good time frame, I want to say, to like unravel.
Yeah, I think they don't go back until like it's like 2 weeks, like fully from Winterball to when they go back. It's like 2 weeks.
Yeah, so I guess like it kind of makes sense that Liz and Hugh maybe like reunite as she's obviously unraveling during this period, and then it gets to a point where she then does need help. Rather than Hugh saving her and then getting back together. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would prefer it the other way. I would prefer them to be together and then we're not well, and you know, rather than let's save her and then get back.
Like, I don't want to get together. Yeah, I don't want to
get
together
just because.
Yeah. Like the timing of it.
I know it would be more than that, but
it would just be like
it would give that. Yeah.
It would feel like forced or like
it's icky, kind of. I don't know why.
Like it would feel like time constraint. Like this is the only time. Like so, it kind of would be nicer for them to reunite on Christmas and then obviously deal with the aftermath of the unraveling. But these are some of those playlists. So you've got like My World Was Falling Apart. Everything I Had Ever Known Was Unraveling. I basically put all the playlists that say unraveling. I've put here. They aren't good songs. I'm not gonna lie. Like Liz Unraveling is I Hope I Die First. So it's very clear it's not going to be a good situation. So potentially between Christmas and New Year's, we've got a bad situation coming. I think it might be closer to New Year's.
Oh, so rough.
They don't look good.
A lot of sadness. She's gonna probably attempt. Like after all of that stuff came out at Winterball, after all those memories and all the clarity starts flooding her, there's no way you're handling that well. Like without proper support. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy to know. Like, wait, half the stuff probably wasn't actually a dream, it was reality. Like, and wait a second, what do you mean about she's probably upset about Gibs on top of it. Like I think people think she's probably not upset about Gibs, but that's her friend. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah,
like that's
she's in shock.
Found out. Like she just found out all of this stuff, like, and she has a few days to process this from the 23rd to the 31st. Like she's got to start processing it and be like, oh my god. Like I don't think she's gonna handle this well. I really don't, guys. I think she's gonna hurt herself.
Yeah.
Or try.
And I think she's already been connecting things. So like that letter at the ball is gonna start like really placing things and like clicking. And then it's just gonna be really not great.
Yeah. I also feel like I'm just thinking like Hugh's response to his parents, right? And being like, nobody believed her, blah, blah, blah. I think he's going to go back to Liz and be like, I believed you this whole time. And that's kind of where it stems from, like that, oh, okay, well, Hugh believes me. Like, and it will kind of hit her a bit more, like having someone there to actually like, I guess, encourage you to want to unpack it rather than push it down more, because she's probably trying to, like from Winterball, she's probably trying to push it down and trying to just like, you know, I guess cover it up again. But having Hugh come there and like potentially be like, no, like, I believe you and I'm here and like, you're not crazy. Like you need to just let it all out. And it gets to a point. But yeah, these all, I guess, like all these songs aren't the best. They're sad. But like that scene with the sad face, it's not looking good. And then that Pedals and Metal like playlist is pretty straightforward. She's obviously in the car. She's somehow in the driver's seat. He like has to reach in, unfasten her seatbelt and like lift her out. So we're obviously in a situation where she needs to be lifted out of the car for some reason. So we can kind of thinking that's probably the method of attempt, because it's got to be something more, I want to say, dramatic or more complex than.
Maybe she like goes to like drive herself off like the bridge or something.
Yeah, that's what I think. Or just, you know, I don't know, because we used to never see her drive, so I always thought this was weird too.
I feel like it has to involve water for some reason, just because I feel like that's like she knows her sister, that whole thing. I feel like water's so closely related to Liz, so at least drive herself off into the river or something.
Exactly.
It's like an odd way to go, but I mean, if you're really spiraling and unraveling at that point,
yeah, you just
I
take.
just say
I mean, I just also don't see her like speeding and like driving into a tree or like, you know what I mean?
Weird. Yeah, it's weird. Plus, she could have took meds.
Like, only so many ways.
Yeah,
there's so much that could happen. Like, she could have been not in the right state of mind through intoxication too. Like, we don't know what's going on.
Exactly. So like, yeah, potentially, like the car is the method. Whatever she does in the car obviously depends. But don't worry, he's there. He's going to save her. It's totally fine. Like, but after that, she will most likely need to go to hospital. And I think that's like important to unpack. We still have time for that technically though. Before they actually do go back to school, we have like a good period where she could go to hospital post an attempt if it's around the New Year's. We've got New Year's Day, which we have this snippet, which maybe just be showing that Hugh is still there.
I also feel like we always look at the song title and not necessarily the lyrics of the song. Like, maybe we're looking at it differently. Like, we're looking at it like, what have I done? And like, that's what we're thinking Hugh's thinking. But like, look at the actual lyrics of the song.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I put the definition.
There's so much in the song that it might not be focusing on the what have I done part. You know what I mean? It might be focusing on a completely different part. There's no lyric in the description. You know what I mean? So it just says whose bed did you wake up in?
Yeah.
So what part of the song does Chloe relate this part to? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and she has used this song multiple times for Hugh and Liz around their love. It's nothing to do with regret or anything like that. The song is actually not about regret. It's about like profound love and like how deeply in love you are with somebody and like the vulnerability of that, which I put there so you can see. But yeah, I think it's very important to think about like this isn't like Hugh is never gonna regret Liz. So every time we see people say that what have I done is a regret about Hugh and Liz being, I'm like, yeah, no.
Listen to the song.
Listen to the song. It's literally used at weddings. Like, why would you at a wedding if it's a song about regret? What have I done? I'm marrying somebody. Like, it makes
I think that's why it's so important to listen to the full thing.
So that's the next day, which just kind of shows that like Hugh is with her Christmas, moving New Year's. Like, he is not leaving her side.
No.
Even if she goes into treatment, which I think is like the perfect parallel that I would personally need to heal. Is him being in the hospital, like you said, he was going to, you know. This also just proves that her mum is alive.
I was just gonna say the same thing.
Just FYI. It says, Liz, love.
Yeah.
She says, yeah, Mom. And she says, he's here. And I love that because obviously
it's Lauren
that said to Hugh, you lied. And I was like, oh, like, wouldn't that be perfect? Like, oh, I need to say that. But this would just potentially be like aftermath of like treatment, Liz being in hospital, because she has to go to hospital, guys. Like someone tries to attempt, they have to go to hospital. Like Hugh is not going to like not take her to hospital after she attempts. Like,
I think people have such a bad notion about the hospital, but like she is a threat to herself and potentially other people that she's driving around like in whatever state. Like, so like, to be honest, she needs to be stabilized. Like, she needs to go somewhere with professionals that are going to be able to stabilize her at least for 72 hours. You know what I mean? Like, she needs to go and get some help because she's not okay. She's not okay. And it's okay to go to a doctor when you are not okay.
Exactly. And I think like also like Hugh, like if we reflect on like releasing 10 with the bridge scene and how like he didn't take her to the hospital after that, he's probably like, oh, I should really take it. Like I already messed up a few years ago. Like he can't repeat his mistakes, you know, like I think that's part of his journey as well, is his understanding of the hospital. He wants to be a doctor, for God's sakes. Like he needs to understand.
I also think like a lot of times, especially when you're working with someone with like a mental illness, like they're going to convince you like they don't need to go get help or they don't need to take their medicine or they don't need to do X, Y, Z. But like you are the one that is unfortunately the sane source of reality in that situation. Like you have to make that decision, you know, like no. She might say she's fine, but she's not fine. Like I can tell. Like, like she just tried to throw herself off the bridge. Like she's not okay. Like we need to.
You need to be like that.
You have to be like that person. Like, it's a little bit of tough love.
You're
the
support
to do
person. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so we've got Hugh obviously breaking down after Xmas break. Now, Xmas break could be Xmas, but it could also be like the entire break, given that what's happened. And like the song is When Your Heart Stops Beating. So it kind of implies that him being, I guess, falling apart is more around maybe the attempt rather than anything else. I mean, he's potentially still piecing things together. He's potentially maybe hearing some of the rambling that she may be talking about when she is in that state, and he's trying to listen and find clues and link more things, and like, you know, the boys
also
so close.
Talks like in R10. I think people forget that she like was like sleep talking like about things that happened like, in her like dreams or whatnot. So like maybe he's like actually listening to her talk this time.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. So, like,
didn't he say he like sat up and tried to listen to them? Like,
he
tried to make sense of them.
Yeah. So I think he's going to be doing that more so now that he knows about Gibs as well. Because he has an inkling. He has an inkling. As if you wouldn't have an inkling that like your girlfriend who is around him all the time with like, you know what I mean? Like as if you wouldn't.
Yeah. And like he's not dumb. Like as a child, he's like, why is Marky walking in her room? Why does he keep watching her from grade? Like
exactly.
he knows some. I don't think he knows everything, but he knows something. He is drawn to figuring out something. He knows he's like on a right trend, but he just hasn't like fit all the pieces of the puzzle together.
Yeah. Like, I think he's going to be like probing more, like asking more questions, like asking the
think
right
so.
questions to probe more,
Yeah.
so that he can actually confirm what he's thinking. Because he's probably also scared to say what he's thinking.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know how she'll
And
react.
like
since he's
he-
always believed Liz about Kiva,
Yes.
and now they have the facts about Gibbs, they
Yeah.
know Mark was at the house with Kiva so frequently.
Mhm.
It's just like, he's not going to be like, oh, there's no way. He's gonna be like, those weird
I also-
situations with the braid, the room.
Mm.
He also is just like not
Yeah.
gonna, even if he thought it like 100% in his head, like, okay, like I think this actually happened, he's not gonna come out and say it until he has the actual evidence. So like he needs the
Mhm.
evidence before he like says it to anybody. You know what I mean? Like he's not gonna blow it up like a Claire situation because they react differently. Like he was more like logical in the sense of like, this is what needs to happen in order for us to get the justice. Claire's more reactive where she's just like full of stress, blow up. You know what I mean? So I think like he's, even if he has a thought that something could happen, he's gonna have to gather all the facts, which is why he's probably asking questions, which is why he's probably like looking into that leather disparity, like the whole thing, to finally be like, okay, like like this actually happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and also I think you were saying this, Crystal, but like it's gonna be so hard, even if he thinks that in his head, to then like verbally say it aloud.
Yeah.
And know not only did he like let his best friend across the street was like subjected to all of this, but like the love of his life was also enduring all of this, and he had like no
idea.
idea. I think that's gonna be really hard for him to like say it.
Yeah, and he's probably also like scared of how Liz would react. I think like if he's like thinking about it from Winterball, and then he's like, I don't know, I want to ask her, but I don't know how to ask her because I realize she's already like not well. She's already unraveling. Like he wouldn't want to kind of feed into that until she's in a stable mind frame, I want to say, because he's probably also concerned that might push her over the edge if it is true as well. So I think there'll be a lot of like, I guess, internal thoughts for Hugh around this time that Lizzie won't necessarily see. But yeah, so we've got Liz potentially in treatment, and I think like this, no matter what snippet, just kind of shows that Hugh had to be there. He's careful around a razor. He says it won't be forever, Liz, so it's implying that she's somewhere else. So it kind of implies that we are going to get some sort of hospitalization scene at some point. But I guess we just wanted to kind of explain what that might look like for someone who has tried to attempt or some sort of self-harm situation. So normally what would happen, this is like, again, all researched and factual. I want to say it's evidence-based, but basically it'd normally be around a 48 to 72 hour hold. It just depends on your country, on your, I guess, your rules, your regulations, your policies. Given that she's a minor, it's probably going to be 72 hours.
Minimum, I would say.
Yeah, but it just depends, again, on like, then you've got like assessments. She'll have obviously a general physical assessment if she did injure herself at some point. She'll need a risk assessment to identify her risk, and that will determine if she does stay longer than 72 hours. So if her risk is high, so she's at risk to herself or risk to others, she will potentially stay longer. Again, as discussed with her guardians and
if she is at risk for herself or others, her guardian would not be able to take her out. Like you would have to stay at the discretion of the psychiatrist, because it, like, especially in the state of Florida, like we have a 72 hour hold called the Baker Act, and most of the time don't come out in 72 hours, and you can't just have your parents sign them out. That's not how it works. Like you have to be cleared by a physicians, because if you're a danger to society or yourself, you're not allowed back into society.
Yeah, so they work under the Mental Health Act. So that's the same here in Australia. So if she is in that risk, they have to do the risk assessment first. So the initial hold is 48 hours, 72 hours, normally 72. But so they have to do that assessment within 24 hours.
At that time period,
Yes. So if they do the assessment after that, it's not viable. So she can leave. So they have to do the assessment within the first 24 hours, and then that risk assessment will determine whether she goes under the Mental Health Act or not. If they deem her, no, she's okay, just give her the 72 hours, then she can leave. But if they decide between that period that, say, something happens in that 72 hours that changes their mind, then they would have to reassess. But if that risk assessment comes back as no, she's not at risk, she can leave. So I think that's important to recognize, because it depends on the state she's in when she's in there. It's not like a stock standard for everybody. I think, you just... Like, her presentation might be different by the time she gets there. Like, she might be feeling, better. She might not. Obviously, she doesn't have the means to act on any things, but they'll identify whether she still has ideation or whether she does have a plan as well, moving forward. But I think regardless, like, it just shows that Catherine is still involved in this situation. Like, she's not dead. She's not.
I really don't understand that.
She hasn't passed, so she's still involved in the care. Then she'll have like mental health assessments, psychosocial assessments, all that kind of stuff. She'll need supervision of care, at least for that 72 hours hold. And then she'll have a treatment plan, medication regimes, which she will need medications, and then a discharge and follow-up. So that's kind of like your general consensus. Obviously, it depends on your country and on your healthcare, but a lot of the time, like, I guess the message we wanted to, show is that people don't just get like put into hold for no reason, like, or because they have mental health conditions. There needs to be a reason. They need to be at risk to themselves or to others, like, in order for them to go under and act, because otherwise, like, there's a reason there's policies in place.
It's really interesting too. Like, honestly, like, look up like the involuntary mental health holds in your area, and most places, I would almost assume every place, but most places have something enacted so it can protect you and the community. Like if you are a threat to yourself, like you need to be stabilized. Like I don't know why that's a hard thing for people to understand. And I think for some reason with R10, like a lot of people put this notion that the doctors were evil, and like I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me. And maybe I'm biased because I work in healthcare, but like never once did I think the doctors were evil in R10. Like at all. I think Lizzie was really young at times. It was really hard to fully for the doctors to come and make like accurate assumptions. But like I think it's just really weird. Like we put on this like negative like outlook that like, oh, Mike wants her in the hospital or she went to the hospital. Like I think that's doing like the community a disservice. Like if you are struggling, please go and get help. Please get help, because like you deserve to be here just like anyone else. And like if you're struggling, you deserve to go get care, and you deserve to be treated like a human. Like you need to be stabilized. You want to feel your best. So please get the help you need. And I hope they do this for Lizzie. Like I would prefer her to be in a hospital.
She's safer in hospital. She is so much safer in hospital. Every time she's in the hospital, I'm like, oh, thank God, because
thank goodness. Like thank goodness. She gets to sleep in a bed that's not even her own.
You get medicated, you get to sleep, you get free food. I mean,
you get to go to therapy, like you do a group events. Like I think people like think like you get stuck into like a single room with white padded walls and you're like in a straitjacket. That is fictional. That is fake. Like that does not happen. That is media. Like literally you hang out in a common room and you like go and like do group therapies. Like you might like do music therapy or art therapy and draw pictures or like whatever else. Like there's so much things that happen that are just like fun in these like situations that I think people like aren't aware of them. And it's not their fault, because like if you haven't like been in healthcare like working, or if you haven't been a patient yourself, how would you know that? You know what I mean? Like they don't show this on TV because like it's not as extreme as the TV shows it. You're not just like sitting in like strapped to a chair. Like it's not like that. It's really controlled. It's very kind, and like people normally enjoy going.
Yeah, exactly.
But there are professionals too.
Yeah,
like, there are professionals, so you can go and get this help because you can't do it by yourself. You need the outside resources in order to come to terms with whatever you're struggling with, get that help, and get better.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. And I think the snippet also shows that like Liz is allowed to have visitors. She's not like trapped in. No. I think people like to use the word asylum, and like that is so.
I truly think it's like all the TV shows.
Yeah, it's a
like,
hospital
out there. Like even when I hear like the people saying like talking negatively about like the ECT treatment, I'm like, you have no idea what that even is. Like it's not like you're awake strapped to a chair and it's shocking. It's not like that. Like you're literally under sedation. Like it's very closely monitored. Like you're not like seizing like crazy. Like your toe might do like a little jiggle. And like it's not. I've seen the procedure done 800,000 times. Like it's not anything crazy. And I think people like see like what happens in like the like psychological movies, and they're like, oh my God, that's what Lizzie went through.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Like, no.
The amount of people are like, but she was in an asylum. I'm like, when?
Like that doesn't like reminding me of like ghost stories.
It is, it's giving me like supernatural vibes. I'm like, wait, what? The hospital.
I'm like, maybe we need to like make something in the community so people know what it's like inside a freaking
day in the life.
Day in the life inside of a normal freaking mental hospital.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the idea is like Chloe explains like in her addendum that she had to be on a like suicide watch for like 6 months. She couldn't get a bed. I think she said she couldn't get a bed in the psychiatric unit back then, so they just took her to I can't remember another hospital.
A lot of times like there's not that many beds too, and like they'll have different units, but like if you're a child, like there's normally one children's unit or like maybe two, or like at max. And like if there's 12 beds, and that's a lot of beds, and they're all taken, like you have to wait until you get placed into that facility. And depending on the time period, which looks like 2005, 2006, like they probably had a lot less resources than we do even now, and even now it would be hard to get placed into like a bed. So like there's probably like one hospital that might take kids, because a lot of hospitals also don't take kids. That's another big thing. Like a lot of psychiatric places, there's an age like limit. Like you can't, like anyone under the age of 10 might not be able to come in. So like just because of safety, because like you wouldn't want like a 5-year-old with an 18-year-old, you know, like or a 17-year-old, you know what I mean? So like it depends. There's so much that goes into it, but like I know like they have a bunch of like psychiatric hospitals in the area, and only a select few take children. And she would be a minor, so she's 17, so she would be a minor, so she would technically have to be placed in an adolescent unit, not an adult unit.
Yeah, and I think that would probably all depend on like, I guess, matching up with the timeline of her going back to school on January 6th. Like it's not going to be a long period. Like this extent is very much.
I would say the standard, like when I talked to my boyfriend who's a psychiatric nurse, like I asked him like what the standard like normal frame for someone to like be in like the hospital would be for like this type of a time. He said if all went well, normally they'll be there for a week. Like that would be like the most normal stay, because even though you're like in Florida, it's called the Baker Act, even though your 72-hour hold ends, like most of the time you're not being released on that 72-hour mark. For the most part, you don't. Like I'm gonna be fully honest. So usually it's up to a week, and then you're probably free to go, because they have to set up other resources. You have to make sure you have outside care too. Like you have to make sure that, like if you get put on medication, that already delays you another day. Like you have to make sure the medication's working and you're not like having reactions before you leave. You know what I mean? So like there's stuff that goes into it that would delay the process. But even if it was a week, it still fits in with the time frame. Like she would still get out. Like I'm not even like a week, like 5 days. I'm in business days, because weekends they normally don't like assess or do anything on the weekends.
Yeah.
So like even if she went in on the first, even if she got on the 5th, she starts school the 6th. Like that's totally doable.
Exactly. It just depends how bad she is at the end of the day. But
yeah, exactly.
Regardless, she will need something. Like I think Chloe will like address that better in the next book, to kind of highlight the importance of accessing healthcare, accessing resources, the stigma of mental health and mental health treatment. I think she's really gonna like like nut that out perfectly for people to understand more around
I'm
this.
excited for that aspect of it.
Then we get to January 6th, the Great War. So these are some snippets around that scene. So this is the very end of Taming 7. It's where we currently are on the timeline. But these are some snippets that kind of follow through into 2006. So we know that Hugh is leaning against the window at this period. He's still not looking great. Liz is talking to Joey in the common room, and then obviously Gibbs and Claire walk in. And then Gibbs is like, let's take a walk, and they walk away. But yeah, I guess this kind of just shows that like Liz and Hugh are like a united front. Hugh's got her back moving forward with whatever is happening at the school, with whatever lines are drawn. Gibbs obviously isn't doing too well. He's losing his shit in January. And Claire is obviously kind of, I want to say like, she's kind of the force that's causing a lot of the issues. Because she's the one that's like, I've drawn the line. I've decided. When Gibbs is like, no, don't choose. Like, I don't need you to choose. But apparently she thought otherwise. So I thought that was very interesting. But this is kind of January. And this is like the recap of that. So you can see that obviously the lines are drawn and where to from here. It depends. You've got Aoife and Katie sitting on a couch together while Patrick's like strumming his guitar. And then Johnny, Gibbs and Claire are standing in the doorway, like kind of watching it all unfold.
Lizzie's with Joey in the kitchen. And then even Claire says like trouble is brewing between her friends. Like, yeah. Interesting.
So where to from here? So we've got technically January 2006 till June 2006 to kind of fill in the rest of the book. These are some snippets that would most likely be around there. Now these could sit in obviously like Hugh and Liz's POVs. We've also got some that could be around Claire and Gibbsy's POV, because Healing 7 will also need to kind of fall within this time frame. So you've got like the letter disparity, you've got Hugh like backing up for Liz, you've got Hugh breaking down because he's finding out everything, you've got Claire and Gibbs having some sort of tiff or some sort of breakup, and then you've got like Hugh with the I believe you and Joey involved in asking the right questions and things like that. So I guess that's kind of like the general vibe of what 2006 is going to look like. Stepping that out is very hard because we have nothing else to kind of go off. But if we look at, I guess, January to March, potentially that's all going to be, I guess, the letter and the truth coming out. Like a slow progression of, again, Hugh piecing things together, trying to find more information, more evidence, and then eventually breaking down after he learns everything. So we've got that letter disparity snippet there, which kind of shows that he's potentially talking to, like, Johnny, Blue Eyes, like, Johnny had the letter last. Like, it's very specific. I feel like if she didn't want us to know who it was, she wouldn't have said Blue Eyes. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's just weird. Any other people, Blue Eyes, are
yeah. Also, I didn't want to depress him more.
Yeah.
Like, Johnny obviously was taking the Gibbs stuff like really hard, really heavy.
Yeah.
He's clearly gonna be very upset. He had the letter last. I think he makes the most sense, but
yeah, he makes the most sense.
That's to me.
Like, Feely. Oh, like, did Feely get to read the letter? Like, you know, like, and then Darren's like, not here. Like, yeah, Johnny just makes the most sense. Yeah. I think we get a lot of questions about like Hugh finding out everything. He's finding out everything. I'm standing by that. He is finding out about every single thing. Otherwise, we would not have this playlist that says when he learns everything. How he finds out, I mean,
that's up to
$1 million question. But we know there's potentially letters, there's potentially photos, and there's maybe potentially a journal. So I think it'll be a collective situation. I also think like he'll like once he kind of has the first bit, he's going to be like, okay, now I need to like put my investigative hat on, and like he's going to be searching for stuff, you know.
Yeah, which is also, I know we talked about this before, but unfortunately, I think he's going to be the one to stumble upon the photos again. He almost found him in Mark's room.
Almost, he was so close.
Nothing that interested Mark. He didn't want anything to do with it.
Damn cameraman.
And now
camera.
They're somewhere in Liz's house.
Yes.
I know.
I really wonder where they are.
Horrible as that is.
I want to think about it.
I think they're in her room. All it says is what she like saw him and tossed him.
So she was outside in the woods,
and then she goes back in.
Stalled them and threw them, and then they just like kind of like disappeared. But she ends up in her room again, and then she like I think she flings them again. She's writing stories like crazy when she was manic. I bet she.
I think they're in her journal.
Yeah. I think they're probably in the journal, and she probably like.
Imagine Hugh opening up like her story journal, and it's just not actually stories; it's real fucking things that happened, and it's just like she stumbles upon these. I would throw up.
Just like
I would take the journal and just
violently ill.
I'm like, stop it.
I don't want that to happen.
Oh my god, I can actually see him like reading it, being like the date. The monster came into my room tonight, and where he's reading the flashbacks that we have read. Oh,
that's what I'm saying. Like, it would be horrible.
Oh my god, stop. Yeah,
like, I truly hope. Like,
I wonder if it's like under her mattress. I wonder if she uses the same hiding spot that like Gibbs uses. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I wouldn't be surprised. Or is it in the closet? You know the closet she hid in? April 5th. She was like, she went to hide in the closet, and then he was like, come out. I wonder if it's in a closet. Like,
it could totally be.
Because that's her like hiding place. But yeah,
But
I
it
also
has to
think
be
that
in her room. It has to be in her room somewhere. And like Hugh does make the most sense of finding them. I just don't want to think about it, so I pretend like it doesn't exist because I don't want him to find the photos. I don't want him to see them. I think he's too
I
little.
hate it.
I think he's a baby
Hate
in my
it.
head, and I don't want him to see that. I don't think he'll ever recover because I know if I saw that of my significant other, I would never recover. So I hope he doesn't see him, but it does make the most sense.
Yeah. I feel like every story I've ever read that has this kind of situation, it's always the MMC who finds it.
I just feel like I would never recover.
I mean, I don't
from
want him to see them, but I don't know who else. Why would he almost find them?
that. Yeah, exactly.
Like why would we
original
foreshadow
thing.
that and be like, oh, could you imagine him being like, I remember going into Mark's room and seeing photos on the floor.
I was this close.
Imagine how he would feel.
I
Oh
hate it.
gosh.
I relate to Hugh on such a personal level that like it literally makes me feel like I'm the one finding the photos. Like I truly get sick.
Bree, why didn't you look at the photos?
I don't know. I
Why?
don't know. The thing is, see, that's where me and Hugh differ because I'm nosy.
I feel like you'd be like, what's this?
I'll be like, what's this? What's this? I'm gonna look through his closet. Why not? Like,
Also,
I feel like
I'm like, Mark's a weirdo. I would 100%.
I'm gonna
snitch.
Yeah, I feel like you would have been like, dude, did you piss on your bed? Like,
Yeah,
how old
I
are you?
would.
Yeah.
Literally me.
Like, you're so gross.
You're so great.
And then I would need like ammunition against him.
That's
You
the
know,
one,
so I'd be like,
area where I'm like, Hugh, we don't relate here because
Yeah.
why are you doing this?
Dude,
Like,
why did you say anything?
We're nosy. We love to piece things together. We love to solve a puzzle. So like, we gotta find all the pieces, even though we didn't even know there's a puzzle to begin with.
Yeah,
Like, that's how I am.
but the more knowledge, the better. So like,
Yeah, always.
if you could
And like, it's also
find
just
out something
to
about
look at
Mark.
somebody, right? Like that's
and
what
just store it
I'm saying.
away.
Like, I like this guy.
That's it. Yeah, but he's gonna find out everything, and he's clearly gonna break down afterwards. So I think that'll be, you know, it's gonna be very
Not
hard
good.
to read.
Not
I think
good.
it's gonna be very.
What's
Hard.
good?
I think about how I'm gonna read that every day. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like,
I think the next book is gonna be so much more emotional for me than R10 was. I'm gonna be completely honest. I think I'm gonna sob at the next book, like so.
yeah, I think I'm just gonna sob throughout the whole thing. I'll be,
Especially because it's gonna be so much more like, I don't know, like
I feel like because we know so much more and we understand them more, and like,
I think it's also because like Lizzie was so young where she didn't fully understand what was happening. So as the reader, it's almost like you didn't get that emotional aspect of it because she wasn't emotional about it.
Yeah.
So like the second she becomes more emotional or Hugh becomes more emotional, that's when like the reader's gonna feel the emotions because you're in the first person narrative. So like if Lizzie's not really upset about something, you're not really upset about something because like you're in her head.
yeah,
If that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
being in the head of like a 7-year-old, it's
Yeah.
very
It's so
different
much
than
different.
like
Yeah, then like a
the writing
17-year-old.
of being in like a 17-year-old's mind.
yeah, for
Agreed.
sure.
Completely
So
agree.
Ugh, pray for us. Okay, so what could potentially happen between, I guess, April and May? So say we find the evidence, or Q finds the evidence, finds out stuff. I guess we know that the book is wrapping up in June, around graduation period. So we kind of have like April, May, which is our sad season, which we know happens every year. So it would kind of make sense for that to be where we get some of our justice or something happening for like Liz, Gibbs, and Kiva around Mark being handled. Because I was kind of thinking as well, like we've been through how many sad seasons and it's like the same. Do you know what I mean? Like it's the same every season. It's the same
the
kind of
narrative.
situation. So like, yeah, to change it and be like, well, actually, we're going to actually deal with whatever the hell we're doing with Mark would make more sense from that, I guess. And it also like helps with the Kiva.
Yeah. I think she needs justice too.
Yeah.
Like in a sense, you know what I mean? Like I know people don't want to think that, but she does. I mean, her life was taken from her, so she deserves justice just the same.
So if we look at like April 5th being obviously the most important date for everyone's trauma, is Gibbs' worst day. It's the first day of the 19 days. It's the Liz miscarriage scene in the bathroom. It's also Gibbs identifies it as Kiva's last day, which we know it wasn't, but I find that interesting that it's his worst day, her last day, first day of the 19 days, and also the terrible scene in the bathroom. So if we were to look at the timeline and think of what could happen, this period, April, May, looks the most promising for us to have, I guess, dealt with Mark somehow.
I agree.
So the question is then, is it going to be a trial? Is it going to be a no body, no crime, or like an accident? If you've watched our Irish mythology video, we talk about how potentially if we follow Irish mythology, like the storyline or the myth is that the guy Theon in Irish mythology ends up like drowning, like that's his demise. He ends up drowning or like hits his head and like drowns. There's also a scene where he like, I guess, dies in battle. There's a few different tales. And the water kind of makes sense because we know that water is so particular in these books. For Gibbs and for Liz, so it kind of makes that sense that water would be somehow involved with the demise. And then I guess if we look at even just like Thelma and Louise, their ending as well.
They like go over a cliff. They drive off a cliff.
Yeah, and we know there's cliffs at the water. So potentially like that cliff's edge at beach camping could be like some foreshadowing as well of a similar situation. So if we looked at the trial method, and we just want to kind of explain this in the sense of what would happen realistically, but obviously this is a fictional book. So a trial can take up to 3 to 5 years. They can take longer, they can take weeks, they can take months, they can take years. It just depends how much evidence is there, obviously who your legal support team is, and like how much you're going back and forth. I think we get a lot of questions about like trial and the evidence and like would it be enough. We don't really think just the letter that Gibbs has would be enough to go to court or anything. Like it you kind of can't
I feel
prove.
like so easy to discard that letter in a sense just because Kiva's not alive anymore, so there's no one to back up that letter.
Yeah, you can't validate.
So like if it was just a trial with just that letter, it would be so easy to be like, that's hearsay, you know, like we don't really know. Like who's to say someone else didn't write it and it's just pretending? Like you can't fact check it.
Exactly. So like, as I guess if you were to go into investigation, like they'd potentially be like, well, there's not enough evidence here to even put it forward for trial, so it would just stop there, and that would be the investigation. If we, however, had maybe the photos, the journal, some testimonies, then we may have enough. But just based off what we have canon right now, it's probably not going to be enough to, I guess, move forward legally, I want to say. They still have to investigate for sure, but the question is, would that investigation be shut down? And I think like statistically wise, only 15% of like SA investigations go to court. Like it's very minimal. A lot of them are handled, I want to say, like in-house. Like there's normally like a plea bargain, or they decide about like, you know, they kind of barter against like how many years, or there's just not enough evidence. Because if we look at it, we don't actually have like medical evidence. So if we talk about like a grape kit, we don't have that. So I think it makes sense in the real world, but it just doesn't make sense in the timeline, and it doesn't make sense for what we've got right now. Like, unless all of a sudden we get all this extra evidence. I feel like if we get the letters, if we get the photos, if we get the journal, we might look at proceeding to trial, but we wouldn't necessarily get there because something would potentially happen before then. If that makes sense.
I agree with all of that.
I agree.
Yeah. I think like we've got Johnny's dad, right? So if anyone wanted to take it to trial, it's probably going to be him. Like
we also already kind of in an investigation for Mark, so I'm sure there's some type of like plan and like, you know, like that they're setting up. So like while something already is like in progress, like something could also happen to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
and I think like it might be similar to Teddy, how like we had a plan, we went to the police, blah blah blah, then he's got to go do this, and then oh wait, there's a fire. Like there was a plan in motion. So maybe there's a plan in motion, like with a trial coming up, or we haven't quite gotten there yet. We've gotten the evidence, we've started to get some more, I guess, information. We're looking at, we're going to arrest him, but something happens before the actual arrest. Because you still have to get arrested to go to trial.
Yeah,
you get arrested.
And he doesn't even like, while there's an investigation for him, it doesn't even mean like he's like wanted. You know what I mean?
He's not up for
like,
arrest. Yeah.
No, like they're not like, there's not like a warrant out for his arrest. They're just looking for him to question him.
So we haven't reached that stage yet.
Haven't reached it. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas, which kind of
you have to have like enough. You have to have enough to arrest someone, enough proof, enough evidence to actually move forward with arresting them. And then once they're arrested, they could still get out on bail pending additional things and additional investigation. So like there are so many other steps before just like he gets arrested, you go to trial. There are like a ton of other
and we just don't have the time. Like we just don't have the time for it. And we don't really see it moving into Healing 7 because we're not going to get Liz's POV anymore. So we kind of need to somewhat resolve her side of the story.
Yeah.
To then
like it has to be left enough open-ended, but also closed to close Lizzie's like story, but keep Gibs' open.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it has to, and I think like she does a really good job with like Joey and Shannon in those books. So like I know it's going to be similar in that aspect.
Yeah. So that's kind of it. Like, we don't necessarily think it's going to go to trial, but I think the evidence will still be an important thing to unpack. And I think like the guards and the police will still be an important part of the story. Like, I don't think that'll be completely diminished because it is important to know about reporting and know about the process. But
I also think it's important for the community of Ballylagan to finally believe these children. Like, I think that's like a big part of the story because like the guards were like not believing Lizzie at all. Like they were like, and she literally was like, you won't see me come back here anymore. Like she literally told that to the guards because they did not believe her so many times. So like I think it's going to be a big part of the story for the community to come together to a consensus that Mark is the evil guy. Like he is the villain of the story. No one else in the book is the evil villain. Mark is the evil villain. The community needs to make that judgment together in order for us to get our justice, because like if they just like got rid of Mark without the community involvement, it doesn't matter because the community still thinks Liz is crazy.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? Like
so like we need everyone. Broadcasted. There needs to be like the evidence
needs to be something that involves like everyone
talking about it. Like the town needs to be talking about it. So like it's not going to be like hush hush. No. But we're just not going to quite get to legal proceedings.
To that trial. Yeah.
Something will happen.
Going back to his fall from grace as well.
Yeah, exactly.
We need to show the world that he's not right. Not because we know he's not right. All the kids know. Claire calls him Stinky Mark. Like Hugh hates him. Like it's very obvious, and none of the children actually liked him. So like now we have to convince all the adults.
Yeah,
that's the big thing. We have to convince the adults in this book that like he's a bad guy.
And I think like the consensus is the guards never believe anybody. So like to actually have them be involved and actually investigate.
Plus, we also have to remember that Gibbs' mom has put a restraining order or whatever against Lizzie for defaming both her sons, Mark and Gibbs. Like that's still active. I'm assuming. Like it was put in R10, so I'm sure that's still active. So like we have to also like handle that situation.
Yeah, God.
I hate that woman.
Oh, I hate her so much. Wanted to refresh on what normally happens. This is normally what happens, so you have an idea. But like we said, we don't have the time for it, so it's probably not going to go down that way. because we know that June 2006 is where the book will end because that is their graduation. So it kind of makes sense for things to be wrapped up in order for us to somewhat get a happier ending for Liz turning 18 in June, for the grad ball, graduation, for them to plan, move away, go to Trinity and Royce College, and then potentially have like an epilogue of them moved away and hopefully happy and living their best life away from everybody else in that terrible town. Because we know that obviously Hugh is going to confess his feelings for Liz with a song at the dead ball, and then they're going to graduate. And yeah, I just feel like everything needs to be wrapped up for this like happy moment. If that makes sense.
I agree.
For us to feel somewhat better that we made it through, you know. But yeah, so that's potentially the timeline of what could happen in 2006. Anything else you guys want to add?
No, I think that you covered it.
Okay, so I guess our concluding thoughts, just to kind of wrap up everything from Winterball. As we said, like Pierce needs to be handled before Winterball because we're kind of moving on to Mark. Like you can't be handling two villains at the same time. They just get blended into each other. So like handling Pierce would make more sense post his birthday, while he's sick, he gets all the regret, all that kind of stuff. We handle him November, December, dealt with. Fabulous. Joey involved. Bring it on. Give me that scene. Okay. Hugh and Liz reunite on Christmas. Thank God. However, Liz then unravels over Christmas and May. It's going to be an emotional roller coaster. It's all I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
She will need hospitalization. Catherine is still alive. She is still alive. Okay.
Let's get together.
He was falling apart after Christmas break. He's probably starting to piece things together, but also unwell from the attempt. He then starts like clicking into investigative mode. He's looking at the letter disparity. He's going to find the evidence. We know if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be him. Then we get to sad season where Mark will be handled. We'll have justice, but a trial would be too long. So something maybe will happen before then. And you know what? Everyone would be happy, I think.
I think I'd be happy.
I will be so happy when he is gone.
I'd be happier if I was
I'll
there.
be so happy.
I'd be so happy. I'm like,
Yeah,
he's fine.
same.
Yeah, and then the storyline will end graduation, June 2006. Happily ever after, Dr. Biggs, and well,
Author.
she will be Eleanor Biggs, wouldn't she?
She would. Author.
Liz Eleanor
Biggs.
Oh, stop it.
I think so.
I think that's all. So there are handles there, guys. Ooh, yeah, I think we covered most of it. I love my little cute little. I just didn't realize this was like there's a little snowman there.
No, this Christmas
My
is
husband
gonna
and I got
suck,
married.
guys.
This
on
Christmas is
New
gonna
Year's Eve.
suck. Like I think it's actually gonna ruin Christmas for me.
Yeah, like we're all gonna be sobbing and like, oh,
Yeah.
Christmas.
Every Christmas we're gonna be like, do you
I
remember that
know.
scene at Christmas?
No, literally.
Oh,
Christmas is already bad, like from R10. So
oh my god.
No.
Okay. Well, that's basically it. So that is our kind of wrap up of Winterball movie in 2006. What could potentially happen? What we might think happens. Again, just theories, just thoughts. Who knows until Chloe gives us the damn book. And we are losing our patience with that. We're slowly slipping into oblivion. I'm not gonna lie.
I think we've been there.
Oh, yeah. What's deeper than that? I don't know.
I don't know. We're on like the last
No,
layer.
but the
of
spirals are.
How many spirals is it till you get to?
Yeah, but they're like coming quicker.
Yeah.
So I'm like
What's the bottom of
mad,
the spiral? I don't know.
bad, depressed.
like the
Sad.
grieving
Angry.
process way too many times.
I don't know. How many times could we go through the like grieving process? I don't know.
I don't know.
We just keep starting.
It's like,
Yeah,
okay,
it just
and
happens
let's
faster
do
and
it again.
faster.
Well, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you follow us all on TikTok. We love to hear your theories. Please send them to us. Please send us your thoughts. We'd love to do a deep dive on them because that's what we love to do. We should just join the FBI, but
Yeah.
here we are doing it for free. But yeah, thanks for your support. We appreciate it, and we'll be back hopefully soon with some more. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye.